Welcome to the new Mitsubishi Shogun Sport. It's an SUV, quite clearly, and where Mitsubishi says that the Outlander PHEV is its most technical car, this, the Shogun Sport, is supposed to be its most capable. Now, of course, make sure you like this video, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, make sure you visit newmotion.com, and make sure you click on the little bell icon next to our channel name. This is not the first Shogun Sport. Mitsubishi had a Shogun Sport that ran from 2000 until 2007 when it was discontinued. And in that time, they sold about 18,500 of them. And there are still more than 12,000 of them on the roads in the UK today. Now, don't misunderstand the name Sport and think, yes, this is a sports car, because it isn't in the traditional sense of a sports car. It's not lightweight, it's not fast, it's not agile. But it is sporty in the sense that it's a sports utility vehicle. It has some actually quite serious off-road capability. Where Mitsubishi has been building the Shogun for the last 30 years or so, that has just been discontinued, and that was always their hardcore, their most serious off-roader. So this is the car that will swoop in and fill that gap. At least that's the idea anyway. Now, there's only one engine in the Shogun Sport, and it's a 2.4 litre turbo diesel. And the reason it's a diesel is because Mitsubishi says that there isn't really a suitable petrol or hybrid alternative for what this car is meant for, which kind of makes sense. Diesel is still very good at this sort of thing. It has 181 brake horsepower and 318 pounds-feet of torque. 0 to 62 miles an hour takes 11 seconds exactly, and the top speed is 112 miles an hour. Not quick then, but actually, given the fact that this car weighs 2.1 tonnes, 11 seconds of 62 miles an hour is pretty respectable. And also, 318 pounds-feet of torque is a good amount of torque. That is a solid amount of pulling power. The only thing is, beyond 3,000 RPM, up to the red line at 4,000 RPM, it's quite a noisy engine. The steering has a good weight to it, but it's quite slow to respond, quite vague. It feels quite artificial. But then again, that does kind of make sense for it to be a slightly slower steering rack when you're in a car that is built in many ways to go off-road, because you don't want quick steering if you're going off-road, because then, well, you could roll a car. I don't really want to roll a car. But the flip side of that is where you're going to use this car, probably most of all on the road, it does feel a bit too numb, a bit too slow. And the suspension, it's quite bouncy, it's quite bumpy. It's not uncomfortable, but it never really feels like it settles down. It's always doing something. The gearbox, it's a new 8-speed automatic, and it's only available in the Shogun Sport at the moment. And it's certainly very smooth, but it's a little bit slow to respond. It takes a while for it to wake up. It's a little bit indecisive, really. But what it does do that so many other gearboxes and other cars don't is that when you start using the paddles, which are behind the steering wheel, you put it in a manual mode, when you're in a gear, it doesn't drop it down a few gears when you put your foot to the floor, and it doesn't change up a gear when you get to the red line. You still have to change down yourself or change up yourself. I really like that. Where this car really starts to make sense though, is when you drive it off-road. You can drive it through 70 centimetres of water, as we discovered. You can drive it at a 45-degree angle, as we also discovered. And you can climb over rocks, you can drive through mud, you can drive up really, really steep hills, as we discovered. This isn't a car that a company says, oh yeah, it can go off-road, trust us. And then you find out it can actually only deal with a couple of puddles and a sand pit. This is really, really serious. Some of the things we did today were, well, I mean, they looked impossible, frankly, and it's quite scary being behind the wheel when you're driving through what is effectively a lake. And what's cool as well is when you do some of the more challenging things where two wheels are off the ground, it doesn't feel like the whole car is bending or twisting. You know, you can still open the doors, nothing's creaking. And down here on the center console as well, you've got some buttons and some dials that mean you can set up the car for the type of terrain you're on. So you can decide whether you're on mud or snow or sand or climbing over rocks. You can engage hill descent control. You can also lock the center differential or change it from two-wheel drive, it's rear-wheel drive by default, to four-wheel drive, and you can engage a low-range gearbox. As for the looks, well, from the front I actually do quite like it. From the back I think it looks a bit like a pickup that's had a back put over the top of it. However, it does have 7 seats, so that's probably why. It's probably slightly longer than I was expecting. Inside, you get a full leather interior as standard, but to be honest, there's nothing that exciting or interesting in here. It feels quite ordinary. What does take some getting used to though is the fact that the indicators are on the right hand side rather than the left. Normally they're on the left, and that's because this car is built in Thailand and then it's been shipped to Australia for the last couple of years. That's where this car has been on sale, and it takes a while to get used to that. I have flashed people with my lights or washed my windscreen at completely the wrong times today several times. It's quite irritating. Now, prices start at £37,775 for the level 3. And if you get the level 4, which includes things like a 360-degree camera, that's £39,775. So the difference between the two trim levels is £2,000. The level 3 is already very well spec'd, so unless you needed the 360-degree camera, let's say you were going off-road quite a lot, that might come in handy. Then you might want to go for the level 4, but to be honest, level 3 probably do you just fine. As a 7-seat SUV, there are definitely cars on sale right now that are more enjoyable to drive, that look better, but as a car that balances price with off-road performance, this is massively impressive. Would I buy one? No, but I don't go off-roading. I don't do it as a hobby. I don't live on a farm. Most of my time is spent on the road, and there are quite a few cars that I think I would buy ahead of this. But if you did go off-roading for fun, if you did live on a farm, then this starts to make more sense. What do you think of the Shogun Sport? Would you buy one? Is it a worthy successor to the mighty Shogun? Let me know in the comments below.